What's it all? So why is the traditional Irish-American meal for St. Patrick's Day, corned beef and cabbage, honestly more appropriate for an Anglo-Saxon feast than a typical Irish household dinner table? It has to do with two things. Number one, economics in America, and two, good old-fashioned bigotry. Regarding economics, while pork was the main cheap meat in most of Europe historically, this is not the case in the United States, where we have a massive amount of pasture capable of supporting large livestock like cattle, and a lot of corn has allowed the cattle industry to grow massively, especially in the 19th century with the advent of railroads, being able to really industrialize it, making beef actually the cheap meat here in the United States. And when you look at cuts of meat that typically end up being corned beef, such as a nice brisket full of nice connective tissues that tend to be a bit chewy when cooked like steak, but very delicious when slow cooked over hours in a crock pot or something, it tended to be a cheap cut of meat, rather than viewed as high quality, making it even cheaper than other forms of beef. So this is actually a pretty cheap meal, cabbage and potatoes and root vegetables pretty much universally being cheap. The other factor being bigotry. While a lot of Irish Americans ended up in America in the first place has to do with the Great Famine, because during the potato famine, the potato blight, England still didn't let the Irish eat anything that wasn't a potato. They exported all of the good food out of Ireland, resulting in a lot of starvation and death and a mass exodus from Ireland to the United States. And the population of Ireland still actually has not recovered. While in the United States, the name of the game is also, like in England, you have to be a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, and the Irish are neither, being Catholic and very much not Anglo-Saxon. So they found themselves in a lot of the same communities and neighborhoods as other people migrating from Europe who also didn't fit that description, such as Jewish people. And when your neighborhood butcher is in fact Jewish, you're probably not finding pork, you're going to find a very nice brisket. And so, that is why the standard meal today is actually corned beef and cabbage, and not pork and bacon and cabbage. And with that note, sláinte. Oh, and the fit for the day is an Irish saffron kilt, colored for the royal colors of Irish tunics, dyed with saffron, and of course a kilt pin with a harp.